Eric Constant. No, that's my friend there. Je m'appelle Eric Kim. J'aime photographier la rue parce que j'aime les moments instants et j'aime la vie. Et je suis Marseille. Oh! Paris, boo! I actually don't know how to speak French, so thank you all so much for coming out. Street photography is my passion, and the thing I love most is to bring people together. Raise your hand if you ever feel scared or nervous to take street photos. Raise your hand if you feel no fear. Okay, you're not a human being. I think the reason why street photography is so fun is because it's so scary and it's so difficult. And I actually think Marseille is my number 2 favorite city in the world. Because the people are so warm and also the food here is so good. And I found that every single country says, oh, my country is so scary to photograph. So people say, oh, you know, my friends in Paris say, oh, you're going to Marseille? Make sure someone doesn't steal your camera or steal your bag. And I'm like, I feel more afraid in Paris than Marseille. Marseille, I feel like at home. And I think if you become more confident as a street photographer, you also become a more confident person. So one thing I like to think is, I heard Francois say that I studied sociology, and I think photography is sociology with camera. And if you're interested in people, you're like humanist, you love people, and the best way to be a better street photographer is to love people more. So there's a lot of people here. One thing I want you to do as a fun experiment, everyone stand up. Stand up. Okay? Look to your partner, say, hello, je m'appelle. Keep clicking, click, click, and wait for them to look, click, and then you get the shot. Alright, merci beaucoup. Give them a round of applause, good demonstration. Right. So what I'll do is, can you turn on the projector? I'll show you guys some practical tips on how to conquer your fears. Alright, so, can you drop the lights a little bit? Okay, so the first question I want to ask you is, if you look at this picture, I know right now it's a little bit hard to see. Okay, voila. What makes the photo so funny?
The nose.
What does that mean? Pinocchio. So when does Pinocchio's nose get long? So what do you think is the story of this picture?
And we have Mickey Mouse.
You maybe got Mickey Mouse, yeah? So what is the story of her?
She's a liar.
Maybe she's lying about something. This is also another good advice. So I have another question. Do you think I said ask for permission or should without permission?
No.
Raise your hand, think with permission?
Yes.
Without permission.
Without permission.
I'm going to ask you guys a lot of questions tonight. Whoever gets 100% right gets a free Leica M10 courtesy of Leica Marseille. Just kidding. Okay? So, next slide. Okay, first question. How many pictures did I shoot?
15.
Did I just take one picture and run away?
No.
We took few.
Yeah. You could actually see from the contact sheets. What I actually did was I actually asked for permission. I said, oh, excuse me, miss, you look so nice. Do you mind if I make some pictures of you? And what I saw was I saw her nose shadow in a wall, and it was going around. She didn't know. And what I did was I kept taking pictures, And this is one tip too, is when you're shooting through shooting through a viewfinder, or if you use LCD screen, do not look in the center, look at the edges of the frame. My personal rule is the last 6 years, I don't crop my pictures. I'm like Cartier-Bresson. The reason I do not crop my pictures, you'll make a better composition in street photography and get closer. So when you're shooting, Click, 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 click. Do not look in the center of the frame. Look at the edges of the frame to make the edges of the frame look very good. So go back to the prior picture. Before. Also, if you want to get more emotion in street photography, what you can even ask your subject is, when you ask for permission, you can say, oh, look up, look down, look left, look right. And I said, oh, can you just look down? And if your subject looks down, what kind of emotion do you get?
Sad.
Feels a lot more sad, right?
Not happy.
And
Very
alone.
close. Very close.
Yeah, so if someone looks up, they look much more powerful and positive, but if they look down, they look more sad and a little more miserable. You guys want to hear the backstory of this picture? Do you know what her job is? Anyone want to guess?
Dancer.
Close?
Artist.
Close? Yeah? You can say artist. What kind of artist?
Comedian? Actor?
Singer.
What does the husband do after the wife goes to sleep?
Singer. A street dancer.
She's actually a porn star.
Porn star. Okay. Wow.
So obviously you wouldn't know that from looking at the picture, but
I said actor.
yeah, actor. That's a pretty good artist. Yeah, I mean, so to me, it's actually interesting is that to learn more about somebody's psyche, right? You go next two pictures. This is actually one of my favorite pictures that I shot. Do you know? So Francois actually shot the same guy. Where does he go every day? Do you guys know where that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right? So what do you think is the story behind this picture?
He saved the mermaid from the
La
water.
siesta. La siesta.
Maybe he's dead.
Who shot him?
I don't know. You?
I shot him with the camera.
Nice shot.
Thank you. So this is another piece of advice about street photography. To make better street photos, there's two types of pictures. There's open pictures and there's closed pictures. Open pictures are open to interpretation, where everyone could come up with their own little story. Closed pictures are closed to interpretation. There's only one way to interpret it. So would you say this is more of an open photo or a closed picture?
Open.
Open picture, because there's more than one way to interpret it, right? So go to the next picture. You could also see, did I just take one picture and run away? How did I take the picture differently?
You turn around it.
Different idea.
Yeah, so the way I saw him was, I saw this man on the beach, and to be honest, I felt a little bit afraid, because what if he wakes up and says, what are you doing? I'm like, "Ah!" And I run away, right? So I was so nervous, but this is one rule you can add to yourself. If you feel afraid, you must take the photo. So in France, do you guys do New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, go to the gym, blah, 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 right? Maybe one New Year's resolution you can have this year. Whenever you see something that makes you feel afraid, you must take the photo. Because I think the good thing about fear in street photography is that fear tells you that you must photograph it. Because you're afraid because you want to take a picture. Have you guys ever walked around for all day around Viewport or whatever, and you didn't see any interesting pictures?
Yes.
That's a bad feeling, right? So sometimes it happens to me too. I walk around for 8 hours, I don't feel inspiration to take a picture, but if I see somebody or something, and I feel, that's your brain telling you, oh, you must take that photo. The only reason you're afraid is because you want to shoot it, but you're afraid they may get angry at you. So anyways, I saw this guy, I shot it, click, and I got very low, click, click, click. And then I also got up, click. And this is actually something that's very important. This composition and the top left composition, they look kind of similar, but there's a little bit, I just bent my knees a little bit, and I think even Henri Cartier-Bresson said, if you want to make a good photo, even changing your camera 1 millimeter up or down will change the composition. And then I did a selfie of myself and his nice butt. Alright, next picture. Alright, so I'll give you guys some practical tips next. So these are just some practical tips that you guys could do in street photography. So the tip number 1 is pretend like you're shooting something behind your subject. So there's several ways you can do this, right? Beautiful lady, come up. Okay, so stand here. So one way you could do this is when you're shooting, this is what I call the video camera technique. Have you ever seen an Asian person at viewport with a video camera like this? And of course, you must split the legs like this, right? It doesn't really bother you if you're in somebody's video, right?
No.
No? Why not?
I am in the street, so
Yeah.
my body is in
Yeah.
the street. It's public.
Yeah, and they're just recording everything, right? So I thought to myself, why not when you're shooting street photography, you hold your camera and you pretend like your camera, your digital camera, is a video camera. So when you're walking around, either use your LCD screen and pretend like you're shooting a video, and then when you see something, clack, 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 clack. Or what you can do is when you're walking around, hold the camera up to your eye, click, 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 and when you're shooting, keep the camera at your eye and just walk past the people. This is also another good strategy, is go over there. If you see something interesting coming towards you, what you can do is you can crouch down, hold your camera up, and wait for them to enter, so walk past me. And then you can go, click, and then hold your camera up. And then sometimes people will stop and they'll look at you like, what did he photograph? And then what you can do is you click, and then you can hold your camera up and go, click, click, click. I've even had this sense where you stand here. So let's say, okay, so stand here. So let's say I'm taking a picture of, some sort of pate advertisement, and I'm going click, 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 click. And the funny thing is, if you get very, very close, like this close, most people will think there's no way this guy is actually taking my picture because no crazy person gets that close. Right, thank you, you can take a seat. So I'll show you some pictures. So this is a very basic one, is I saw a simple diagonal line here, and I just crouched and I waited for his head to be about here. And a simple thing, they also call this in street photography the fishing technique. Anyone here like to go fishing?
Yeah.
Yep. And the thing with fishing too is that sometimes you spend a lot of time waiting for the right fish to enter. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Next picture. Alright? So what do you guys think is the story behind this picture?
You checking my picture?
He's not happy with you. Huh?
Faut pas photographier les mafiosos, fais gaffe.
Okay. So I'll show you the contact sheet, so go to the next picture.
It's a mannequin?
Yeah. So how many pictures did I shoot?
8.
Okay, so do you know how I shot this? So what I did was, come on.
Come on.
Huh? Allez. So stand here, look that way. So I saw this man in the mannequins, and so what I did was, click, take a step forward, click, take a step forward, click, take a step forward, and then once I realized my composition looked good, I kept going, click, 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 and then you can see 6, 7, he's like, is this guy taking my picture? And then go, hey, are you taking my photo? Do that. Click. And then I said, oh, I'll just photograph you in the mannequin. And he says, you should ask for permission.
You should have for permission.
And then you know what I said? Can I take your picture? And he goes, no, go away. And I'm like, okay, sorry. Okay, thank you. So go back to the prior picture. Yeah, so that's another funny technique is when you take the picture, click, step forward, click, step forward, click, and then just wait, click, 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 click. And then if they see you taking their picture, the hand gesture becomes much more interesting, right? So don't do a shot without a flash. Sun's flash. And these are with the flash. You can see the flash adds so much more color. Right? Next picture. Right? So what's so weird about this picture?
It's wonderful. The nails. It's incredible.
Who's? This is actually my hand.
Personne.
It's your hand?
Ouais, ça, c'est pas
No.
mal. Ça, c'est pas mal.
Yeah. Once again, do you think with permission or without permission?
C'est quoi ça?
Without.
Permission.
Next picture. And how many pictures did I shoot?
34.
So one tip too is if you see somebody interesting and you ask for permission, take many photos, horizontal, vertical. And actually the way I was able to make the picture was, in the beginning I said, oh, just pose for me, blah, 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 blah. And the reason why you want to take a lot of pictures, in the beginning, everyone's always going to be so stiff, but you want to make it loose. It's like a nice wine. You don't just go, boop, and just start drinking it. You have to let it breathe, right? And he started sweating, and his girlfriend took out the napkin and started doing that. Oh, do that again. Keep wiping the sweat. So if you're shooting street photography, you don't know what you're looking for, but if you see something, you can identify it and say, oh, can you keep doing that? Click, 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 click. And so you see I took many photos of her wiping the sweat, but this one I just got lucky and made the best picture. Next. Okay. So this is actually one of my most famous pictures. Once again, with permission, without permission.
Without.
With permission.
With?
Yeah, with.
Without. How do you think, oh, I have another question. I shot this with 28mm lens. How close do you think I got?
Very close.
40.
So, if this is the camera, here's a lens. No cropping, okay? Do you know how I got this picture? I approached the lady and said, oh, excuse me, miss, you look so beautiful, I love your outfit. Do you mind if I take some pictures of you? Yeah, sure. Go to the next picture. And I go, tag, 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 tag. Exposure compensation. Tag, tag, tag. Flash. Tag, tag, tag. No flash. Tag, tag. And then she goes, you're crazy. Ha 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 ha. Tag. Yeah. And then next. But, oh, sorry, go back. But I didn't know, so I kept shooting. Because I don't know, so you have to keep tag, 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 tag. And there's actually a nice quote from Henri Cartier-Bresson. Sometimes you have to milk the cow a lot to get a little bit of cheese. Okay, next picture. And, so the other picture was in New York City and Fifth Avenue. Do you know what country this is? In Vietnam. So I'm actually doing a new project. It's called Laughing Ladies. Because like there's so many sad, depressing photos in the world. I'm like, I want more happy photos. And so this picture almost looks like the other picture, right? And if you look at the contact sheet, the way you could get a good expression is when you're taking photos, you can say, oh, can you laugh at me? Ha 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 ha. And then your subject's like, this guy's crazy. And then they'll start laughing. And this is actually a really nice picture because, man, do you remember?
Yes.
This is actually, what was her story? She, I think she was like 75 years old, and she's been making traditional Alzai Vietnamese dress for over like 60 years. And she knew how to use a computer and everything, so it's also got a great story. Right, next.
Bus.
It's not the same thing.
With permission or without permission?
Without.
Is anyone getting all the answers correct yet? You guys might. Right, next. That's the first picture. Second picture, this is the last picture. So this is the last picture. So, do you know how I shot this? I was in a crowded tram in Istanbul, and I had my camera up, and I was about to take one picture, then everyone looked at me and just started smiling. So the first photo, he's smiling. And then I said, no, serious. The second picture, he's like, trying to, and then the last picture, so go to the prior picture, he really looks like this. And so some people say, oh, but that's not what he really looked like, you're just making a fake picture. But to me, I said, this is the image that I had in my head. But in reality, going to the next picture, he was such a nice guy, look at his smile. smile, so nice, like very bright teeth. I think he was like a Colgate model. But you can see, once again, street photography is about creating your own vision. And you can ask for permission. Go next. So the assignment number 2, it's called the 10 No Challenge. So tomorrow or on a Saturday or Sunday, spend the entire day, or go around Viewport or anywhere here in Marseille. Try to look for the 10 scariest people who you think will say no, and say, oh, excuse me, do you mind if I take your photo? And you can practice in English or French. Because maybe, who knows, maybe if you speak English, they think you're a tourist, they say yes. Maybe French, I don't know. So what you try to do, you try to get 10 people to say no. Trust me, it's actually much more difficult to get 10 people to say no than you think. All right, and the last one? All right, the last one is lingering, which means hanging out. So go next. So often when you're shooting street photography, once again, don't just take 1 or 2 photos and run away. Whenever you see a good scene, try to take as many photos as possible. And also one good thing is to shoot in a crowded area, like I was shooting here in downtown LA, and it's getting closer, closer, closer. Next. Also this picture here. So do you think this is with permission or without permission?
Without.
With? Without? Alright, so you guys want to know the story behind this?
Yes.
Okay, Matt, you can come up here. You'll be my model. Oh, take your phone. Bring your phone. So I saw this man in downtown Los Angeles. He's on his phone. Other hand. And there was a nice light coming here and hitting the eye like this. And so what I did on my camera is -1 exposure compensation or -2 exposure compensation. So the entire background is dark, but just the eye is lit. So what I do is I go up, just talk on the phone, and I go tag, 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 and then look at me, tag, and I'm looking at her through the viewfinder, and then keep talking. And then, so I kept taking photos, and then he looked at me, and he didn't say anything. So I was like, okay, I guess that means okay. So tag, 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 tag. And then you see the next picture. You can see all the different pictures I shot, because I didn't know which ones would be the best, because some pictures he's looking left, right, up, down. He just stayed on his phone, looked at me, and then the second he made eye contact with me, I was like, and I'm looking at him through my viewfinder, and then he just goes. So I was like, oh, okay. So sometimes when you're shooting street photography, if people do not yell at you, that actually means, yeah, it's okay, you can photograph me. Right? Next picture. So this is actually a picture I shot yesterday in Marseille. I was going to Calanque with Cindy and my family. And what do you think is interesting about this picture? What are the things you find interesting?
The looks. They look, everybody looks in another direction, no?
Yeah.
So she's kind of looking this way, and
And the juxtaposition with the...
so you got the blonde lady there, you got the black people here, and also this kid here. So,
Black people
right?
looking at black people.
yeah. Right? Because some people say, oh, like people in Marseille are so unfriendly, whatever. But to me, this was actually such a nice moment because I love my mom. Raise your hand if you love your mom. Fantastic. So this boy was talking to the mom, and I was like, oh, this made me feel so nice. This is when I was like a child, right? And we're at the bus stop. The boy's here, she's there. On my camera, you go tag, 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 tag. And if you look at the contact sheet, go next. I shot almost over 30 pictures of them. And the reason why the lady's looking back on the billboard, because the mom sitting, she's thinking that I'm photographing the billboard. So she's like, oh, I wonder what his photographing looks here. And after I kept clicking, and she looked at me. I think one of these pictures she looks at me. And I just kept clicking, click, 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 and kept taking so many photos. And then at first they felt kind of like, no, should we move it? And then they're like, oh, no crazy person hangs around and takes that many pictures. So go next. So you can see I kept taking pictures because you don't know which is going to be the best picture, right?
Exactly.
A tip is don't do this. This is what some people do. They go click, click. What you want to do is go tack, 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 and then go home and choose your best photo. Don't shoot. Look at the LCD screen. Shoot. Look at the LCD screen. Or else you're gonna miss the moment. And this is actually even more interesting. Go to the next picture. I actually made another very interesting picture in the same scene. So Pierre, what is the composition you see here?
Layers.
Nice layers.
Nicely.
Yeah. So you have this lady back here, the other man here, this woman here, you have this lady here. But I think if you think about this as a 3D image, to me it actually looks like this. You guys can't see that? Because this lady is very close to me, facing this way. This man is all the way back here, facing forward. And this girl here is about here, kind of facing me like this. So you got the man back here, the girl here, and then you have the lady here. So visually, this makes a much more interesting photo with depth, but also like a 3D photo. So if I didn't hang around here and just keep clicking, 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 I wouldn't have made a good photo. Right, next. Right? So how does this photo make you feel?
Happy.
Happy? Good mood? This is also one good technique I'll give you when you're shooting multiple subjects or layers. Have the person on the extreme end cut off their face, but have the hand gesture going to the center of the frame. One technique, they call this a bookend. Like, on the bookshelf, there's the bookend? Is that the bookend? And the good thing about bookend is that it puts in the energy to the center of the frame. So what I did was, I saw 3 old people, and I thought, this might be an interesting moment. The decisive moment did not happen yet, but if I wait and I take many pictures, maybe something interesting will happen. So I saw them, and they're just talking. I went, tack, 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 tack. And then they don't notice me, and then this woman talking like this, and this lady is like laughing. So if you show the contact sheet, you can see all the different pictures that I shot, and then actually these ones I have full screen. So, Francois, can you just go slowly one by one? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And they got the hand gesture. 5, 6, 7, 8. Then now stop. Go next. She's like, wait, is this guy taking our picture? Then go next. And then this lady says, maybe he's taking our picture. Next picture. The guy back there is like, I think he's taking my picture. Go next. And then they keep talking.
C'est plus intéressant.
They keep talking. And then the lady here, she's like, wait, he's still here. And then like, there's no way he's taking my picture. And go next. And then this lady's like, he's still here. And then this guy's like, and she's left, and now he leaves. Okay? So, what actually happened was they thought that I was just shooting somebody else, and the Japanese go, oh, sorry, and they just get out of the frame. So, the thing with the lingering technique, imagine somebody put Loctite super glue on your shoes. Next time when you see a good scene in street photography, keep your feet planted, and just keep shooting. Because you guys all know Henri Cartier-Bresson? He said like, le moment décisif, the decisive moment. People think it's just, one decisive moment, someone jumps over a puddle and you take one picture, but I think decisive moment hasn't happened yet, but you have to go there and keep taking pictures and keep taking pictures. Anyone here watch football?
Yeah.
Who's the Marseille football team? No? In football, if you're doing a penalty kick, do you want to kick the ball 20 times or 1 time?
1 time.
Ooh, maybe you're a very good player. For me, I would like to get 20 attempts, right? So same thing in photography. Don't just think I can only get 1 chance or 1 attempt. I could take many photos. And so you could use that as an example that you could take many photos to get 1 good picture. So the